third-party administration. And Marshall and Sterling did help us through this process. If Sean's on, I'm going to let Sean take over and explain the process for the insurance portion of it. Sean?
Sean, you may have to hit *6 because I had to mute everybody.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. So yes, first of all, again, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to provide Columbia County with not only our services from a loss control standpoint and service standpoint, but from the opportunity to be able to research the markets and to find what's available in the marketplace. As I think most of you probably know, this was a time-restrained process. We did reach out to the existing markets that carried the excess workers' compensation, as well as other markets that we have utilized with some of the other county municipalities that we insure. We also did some research on some third-party administrators, ones that we've used specifically in other counties that we insure. Some of those only work with the property casualty line of business, not the workers' comp. So we obviously had to put them aside and then work with the others that we've been accustomed to working with in the past. So through the process, we looked at also a first party program, or first dollar, I should say, program. The current programs are both excess on the workers' comp, in which there's a self-insured retention that you work with, and then an option would be to go to first party. The first party first dollar program, I apologize, first dollar program that we looked at came back with an indication on their pricing. Again, with the time restraints, they really had to gather a lot more information to formalize the number that they gave us as an indication. We didn't feel that at this point that was something that we'd be able to pursue properly and come back with a firm number. But we did get indications from them that there was a definite interest and something that they would want to continue to pursue. The feedback we received from the incumbent carriers and the incumbent TPA is that they really, I should say, wanted to maintain their relationship with Columbia County. It's been, in their view, a very good relationship, a very fluid one. And I do believe that I got the sense from both Michelle and PJ that there was a level of satisfaction with the service that was received from the current TPA, as well as the claims process with the excess companies. So that was something that we wanted to make clear right up front, that there was still an interest and a desire to keep that relationship going, which there was. So based on the pricing that we received back from the existing carrier and TPA, I think it reflected that desire to maintain Columbia County as a client and, certainly to get the commitment to move forward for this year. So I don't know if that is all you needed to hear, PJ, if you wanted a little more detail.
No, I think Sean, just let them know how many carriers are reached out to get quotes for the insurance portion.
Yes, we went to, from an excess line standpoint, we went to 3 other carriers, and then from a first dollar standpoint, we only went to one, which is PERMA, which is, somebody that we use currently as well. So again, the pricing that came back from Safety National and Capital Indemnity, Capital Indemnity came back with a flat renewal, meaning no increase on the renewal at all. And Safety National came back with a 3.7% increase, which, as I've indicated to both PJ and Michelle, and we've had discussions here, we were quite pleased with that, to be frank. They did come back with a little bit higher offer initially, but we did push back and ask them to look at it again. But some of the indications and some of the pricing that we've been receiving on other renewals was frankly significantly higher. So that we felt that the 3.7 was quite a fair and equitable proposal. And then with Future Comp, who handles the TPA portion of it, they came back with the same exact terms and service fees that were in the expiring program. So again, all of that reflected some very positive pricing and relationship desire from all of the players. As I said, from PERMA, they came back with an indication, but needed a lot more information to finalize their number. And with the other players, they came back with, it was really, there's a mix of dollars and cents based on their services. And none of them stood out to be any more competitive than the current program with Future Comp.
Thanks, Sean. Just so the committee knows, in just short calculations, basically by Marshall and Sterling getting involved and pushing back, probably saved us about $10,000 with Safety National and premium. So that was a plus on their part. The third-party administrator, like I said, we went out. 2 carriers came back with different proposals. We tried to compare apples to apples. And although carrier number 2 did have a slightly lower administrative cost up front, they tend to nickel and dime us as we went through the whole program, and the cost difference would be negligible. But on top of that, staying with Future Comp would be beneficial to us as the county, only because of familiarity with the clients, and they've saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars each and every year, just becoming familiar with the clients themselves. So again, when you weigh the both cost-wise, they're coming out just about the same. However, we weighed Future Comp and the cost savings that they've saved us over the years, just in familiarity with the clients and the personnel involved. So we do have prices on these, but Matt, I don't know. I do have resolutions in place for finance. I don't know if you need that here or.
So, I mean, basically what we would need, if we have a quorum here, is to move the proposals to finance for, to be voted on.
I need to find out who joined the meeting, Matt.
Okay.
There's somebody on the phone. Whose phone number ends in 68? You have to hit *6 to talk.
68.
Oh, it's Art. So you have a quorum now, Matt.
Okay. So what are the resolutions, PJ?
Well, there's 2 separate resolutions. One is for Safety National and Capital Indemnity, the insurance carriers, and the second resolution would be for Future Comp for the third-party administrator. They're 2 separate resolutions.
I would entertain a motion to move both of the resolutions to finance to be voted on.
I'll make that motion.
Motion Rob Lagonia, second.
I'll second. Art
Basson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. PJ, do you have anything else for the committee?
No, I don't. Not for the insurance committee. No.
Okay. Michael, do you have anything? Michael Reardon?
I just wanted to discuss with the Health Insurance Committee how they felt about the potential of us reaching out to our PBM pro benefits as well as our Section 125 flexible spending, who is pro benefits. And, we have RFPs that are coming up, and I don't know whether or not we want to just apply for a year extension on all of our current contracts. Because I just don't know how conducive this environment is necessarily going to be doing an RFP search for a new PBM.
I would be comfortable. I would be comfortable with that. As you said, it's a tough environment right now, and if we can extend these contracts 1 more year to give us some time,
Yeah,
to
we
diminish.
certainly have, we can extend Mass Mutual for one more also, our deferred comp, because we had the 5-year, which is what we put into our own policies and procedures, and then we have up to 2 1-year extensions, of which we've done 1. So
And we're happy with the current policies?
I have not received complaints. I mean, I know certainly, there's kind of been conversations whether or not, we want to pursue a new PBM with ProAct, and that kind of started with ProAct having a turnover in staff and differences in representatives that we've been dealing with. But we certainly don't. We've gone out for RFP for our PBM once before per our prescriptions, and we kept ProAct. So I'm certainly not asking to extend it based on multiple years. I just felt that with everything else going on right now, I didn't know if we wanted to get into an RFP for the prescription carrier.
No, I'm fine with extending it, as Matt said.
Okay. PJ, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to call you. I apologize. I just thought it might do us all better to just, give us some more time.
Art, are you okay with that?
Yep, sounds good to me. Good idea.
All right. Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
thank you.
I think we got enough on our plate to get through this year.
Okay. Do I need to do a resolution request also from the board, or how does that work? Do you think?
But
Yes.
to extend it for a year,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, I'll do up the resolutions asking for the extensions. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Any other business? Is Marshall Sterling still on the line? Oh, there you are. I just wanted to thank you for working with us and working with PJ.
And thank you as well. It's been a very effective, and I think the process played out as it might research, and it's been very helpful to work with PJ and Michelle in getting all of the information we needed to go through the process. So thank you to them as well.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Matt, and I want to thank the committee. And we lost you there for a second, but I did want to state that I do think we shook up the market a little bit. The incumbents knew we were chopping. That alerted them. I think that held your costs down. The TPA that we finally decided on fixed your fees for 3 years in a contract. So I think we really accomplished our goal. And then we also have something to look forward to with this PERMA option with the first dollar. They gave us a range. The range is kind of what you're spending right now, totally running your own program. But the range that they gave us, as Sean stated, with the time frame they wanted to continue to work on it, we really said, let's table that till next spring, and then we'll get PERMA engaged, and then we'll look at both business models for you. And we'll present that this time next year to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Rob Ligonia, second.
Second.
Thank you, Art. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Are you waving goodbye? Take care.
You all.
Yep.
See you later.
Thank you. CF Finance.
at this point?
You're ready to go. It's 3:30.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the July 23rd, 2020 Finance Committee meeting to order. And we're going to get started with the Columbia Green Community College proposed budget for 2020 and 21. And we have the president, Carly Drummer here.
Yes, and Vice President Diane Topple, who is going to walk you through the budget.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'll
Can
let
everybody-
you- Go ahead, Kelly.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, you're good.
Great, thanks. Kelly, I'm assuming you're going to navigate through the pages for me. I'm just going to have you go right to the next page where the pie chart is. Great, thanks. So this is just a page of our budget that's really shows all the pieces of the pie. You can see our student support is 28.46%, and that represents tuition and fees to students. Sponsor support is 39.54%, and that is representative of both Columbia and Greene counties. State support I'm showing at 13.19%. You'll see why that's so low when we get further on into the presentation, but we had to make some assumptions going into this budget cycle. I know we're all in the same boat here. We're kind of waiting to hear what we're going to get from the state. And we've been asked by SUNY to assume at this point at least a 25% reduction in our state aid. So that's what we're reflecting in this budget package. So that is reflected in the 13.19% on this chart. And then miscellaneous support is everything else, which is chargebacks to other counties, some small private grants and contracts, and then our other revenue sources, including appropriated fund balance.
Could we make sure everybody has their microphones muted, please? Because there's a lot of background noise. Okay.
Okay. If you want to move on to page 2. This just shows the proposed breakdown by county for both Columbia and Greene counties. You'll see that the total sponsor share year over year has remained flat, but the allocation changes each year between the two counties. And the allocation is based on the fall head count per county for the previous fall semester. So this allocation would be based on the fall 2019 semester.
Okay.
I'll move to page 3. So this is really the meat of the document on page 3. This outlines each one of our revenue sources, just in more detailed numbers. You can see our total tuition and fees. This is based on an FTE of 908.2, which is relatively flat year over year. We're actually hoping to do better than that. We're hoping that perhaps we'll get some students who are perhaps thinking about taking a gap year as a result of the pandemic, or they're just not quite sure what they want to do, or they, we're going to a 4-year institution and we're concerned about going back, living in residence halls and such. So hopefully, we're hoping actually perhaps maybe to pick up some FTE, but for budget purposes, we assumed we would remain flat year over year. This revenue also reflects a tuition increase of just shy of 3%. It's 2.985% tuition increase. Again, the SUNY Board of Trustees is reluctant to pass a tuition increase of more than 3%. So we typically do run around 3%. And then just to give you some perspective, we are still slightly below average on our annual tuition. You'll see when we get to the next page of tuition and fees, our yearly tuition will be now $4,968 per year. The anticipated average amongst all of the community colleges for the 2021 cycle is projected to be about $5,024. So we're right in the ballpark with our peers in terms of tuition. Thanks, Kelly. If you could go back just to the previous slide again, sorry. Thank you so much. Let's see, the other thing that I'll talk about too when we get to the next page, or I'll just highlight it for you, is that we did increase our technology fee. We found that amongst our peers, our technology fee was extremely low. It was $108 per semester. We've increased it to $180 per semester, which brings it to $360 per year. The anticipated average amongst our peers, again, for the 2021 academic year is about $405, according to numbers from SUNY. So again, by raising that fee will bring us more in the ballpark amongst our peers.
If you were to take and figure us between our other colleges, where do we stand as far as the numbers for a student to go when you add all these other things in there? Where do we really stand with these extras?
In terms of fees?
Yes, like
we're very modest. We've always been very proud of the fact that we don't fee our students to death. I can tell you the fee, I believe the technology fee for Hudson Valley is $600 a year. Mm-hmm. Many institutions charge parking fees, exorbitant health fees. So I would say in comparison to our peers, we're probably very low.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So the next section is the state operating aid. So I broke that out in 2 lines because I thought it was important to show you what it would be if we were assuming 100%, which is the top line there. And then to show you how much we've reduced the budget by assuming that we'll see perhaps a 25% cut in state aid. I can tell you we did just recently receive a portion of our 4th quarter aid payment for the current year, and it was reduced by 20%. So I don't know if that's an indication of things moving forward. We really have not gotten any confirmation one way or the other how this is going to move ahead. But I think it's probably a safe assumption to say that it's going to be at least 20% based on what I've seen. Again, we have the sponsor contribution at the moment remaining flat year over year. Charges to other counties. So that's that is the tuition that we charge for students that come to our institution from outside Columbia and Greene County. I know many of you are familiar with this because Columbia County has that same fee. So if we get a student that comes to Columbia Greene and lives in Ulster County, we send a bill to Ulster County for that student. Our chargeback rate in this current year that we're in is $9,544. The projected rate I have moving forward into next year is $10,080, and that's per full-time equivalent.
Okay.
And that's usually approximately 200 FTE in the academic year of students that we have coming from other counties. The federal grants and contracts is our work study allocations. We get a federal work study allocation that will allow students to work on campus, and it's part of their financial aid package. That's a number that's given to us by the federal government. Private gifts, grants, and contracts is reimbursement that we get from our component units, foundation, and association to support a few employees that we have that work for those respective component units. And then we have other revenue, which is primarily real property revenue. We rent space to the New York State Department of Labor in our Professional Academic Center, also to the Workforce Investment Office. So that's the primarily makes that up. We also receive a dividend for our workers' compensation policy if we have a good experience rating, which we have in the past, and I expect that will not change in the current year, particularly since we have less people on campus at the moment. So that is also a sizable amount of that line. And then appropriated fund balance. So this is more than we would normally appropriate. Again, a big portion of this is because we're budgeting for a 25% increase in state aid. think if we did not have that reduction of close to $700,000, we would be more in line with our previous fiscal year. Are there any questions before I move on, or?
What's your fund balance at this point using the 972?
So we started this fiscal year with approximately 3 million in fund balance.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I have a question, Diane. If we're using the same flat number of FTEs from last year, the tuition that you're projecting for next year is down by just under $200,000. How do we account for that?
That's a good question. So we started, let me go to the detail on that. New York State resident, because not actual. So what you're looking at is not actual to budget. You're looking at budget to budget. And we are currently running under budget in the current fiscal year. I should have come up with that answer. Sorry about that. So we budgeted in our 2019 budgeted, we budgeted more than we're actually recognizing. On our
So that's not your, this doesn't reflect your actual cost for 2019, 2020.
That's correct. This is the 1920 budget. So it's budget to budget, not actual to budget.
Okay. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
How many FTEs do you have from Columbia County?
Overall total, we're looking at approximately 908.
Okay, so that would be Columbia, Green, and your out of county.
Yes, that's everybody. That's full-time, part-time.
Okay. Well, Columbia County's FTEs are 347.
Ron, is that what I gave you yesterday? I'm sorry, I don't have that off the top of my head.
That's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, 347.6.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I understand what Columbia County's share of the FTEs are.
Yep, okay.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question also. There was some stimulus money that was out, about $800,000 worth. Did you guys get any of that?
So we'll get half of that. I do have that. Still waiting for more clear guidance on exactly how we can use it. But I believe one thing we can use it for, and as we go into the fall semester, because we're running many of our classes online, there'll be some course fees that we won't really be legitimately able to charge our students. In other words, if we normally charge a fee for a science lab, and the science lab is not running in person and running online, we'll not be charging the student for that course fee. It's my understanding that we can use that CARES Act funding to reimburse our revenue or to increase our revenue for the loss in course fees as a result of having to run online versus in person. So that's just one example. We did receive the student portion of the CARES Act funds, and that's 100% for students. So our financial aid office is taking care of administering that. There's an application that students need to fill out and apply for, and they have already started to disperse those funds.
And there was another 400,000 for the cover expenses related to the virus. Did you get that or not?
We didn't get it yet, but it is available to us, or it will be available to us.
Okay.
Yep, and that's what we'll use. That half, it was 50-50 split. So the
Right.
800 and change was split 50-50. 50 was directly to the students. The other 50 can continue to be used for the students, but can also be used for other things related to the pandemic, or like I said, to make up for the loss in revenue as a result of things like course fees.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I have a question. This is Supervisor Shamitas.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I missed it. Did you say how many students you have estimate that are coming from Columbia County to the college?
I did not say that, but you have, I don't have that report in front of me. I think it was, did you say 370?
347.
347, right?
347 students in a year?
That's what's projected. That was with the actual for last year's supervisor.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. How are you going about estimating enrollment if, as we all know, classes are most likely going to be online in the fall, and maybe not have classes until the spring semester? How are we accounting for that? If we have 347 kids now, how are you accounting for the potential decrease in enrollment?
Yeah, so Carly, you're welcome to chime in on this. I don't want to speak incorrectly, but we do. So we are able now, we actually have a new software system that we're really close to being done converting. But one of the good things that came out of this system, even as recently as last week, is that we can now get daily reports on our enrollment. We also have a new assistant dean of enrollment management who comes to us with a lot of experience, and I can let Carly speak to this probably better than I can, but he is keeping tabs on this every single day. We have several students that have already registered for their courses for the fall semester. The continuing students, they registered by phone when this all took place and everybody had to vacate for the rest of the spring semester. We put a plan in place and reached out to our existing students so that they could set up their classes and register for the fall via phone with their advisor, and many of them have done that. Carly, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yes, I'm excited to announce that SUNY distributed a survey to all SUNY community college students and asked for their satisfaction rate with respect to the spring semester when we had to pivot to virtual learning. And we came out with an 89.9% satisfaction rate against a SUNY average of 76%. So I'm feeling very confident that our students are going to continue with us in the fall. Historically, community college students wait until the last minute anyway before they register. And I believe that with the virus exacerbating this already, I think there are many students who are taking a wait and see attitude. But as of today's enrollment report, we are definitely right now, we are trending toward a flat enrollment. And I believe, because I'm the eternal optimist, I believe we are going to see an increase in enrollment, not a decrease.
Okay.
Anything else on that before I move on? Any other questions?
Yeah, Diane or Carly, I just want to make the distinction so some people understand. What is the equivalent of an FTE? Is that how many course hours they're taking?
Yeah, so 12 credits per semester is a full-time equivalent.
Okay. So I just, Supervisor Chamides, I just want you to understand that there's still 790 kids from Columbia County that attend Columbia Green, but it's only equal to 347 FTEs. So don't get confused on that.
Yeah, thank you, PJ. That's a really good point because
Thank you.
Yeah,
And I say kids. I'm sure they're not all kids.
Right.
But for example, today our head count number was about 750, and the FTE on that came out to like 520.
Right.
So it's there is this as Diane said, it's 12 credit hours as a full-time student, and then the formula adjusted accordingly. So the FTE number is always lower than your head count number.
Yeah.
Can I just ask for a little clarification on that, please, so that I have it clear in my own head? I understand that the FTE is a full-time student. I thought that you had 902 FTEs, which accounts for everyone, Green, Columbia, and out of county. And then you have your part-time students on top of that. So what is the part-time number from Columbia County?
Oh, I can.
The only reason I'm asking that, Dr. Drummer, is because it sounded like we had 700 students from Columbia County, and I'm only counting 347 FTEs. Do we have a way of identifying how many part-time students we're also subsidizing?
Absolutely. If you just hang on a second, I'll get my enrollment report from, see if I can give you that information.
Hey,
Okay.
Paul, if some of this information you can't get right to us right away, you can get back to us with some of this stuff if you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't need that answer right now. It's just that that number seemed to be different from the other numbers we were talking about before, the 902 and the 347.
So right now, this was as of Monday, July 13th. I don't have today's figures right here in front of me, but full-time students, that's everybody, was sitting at 327, and part-time was at 374. So that was a total of 701. So typically our part-time ratio compared to full-time, it usually is about equal, about 50-50. So in Monday's report, it was 46.6% were full-time and 53.3% were part-time.
Okay, so then it's 327 FTEs, not 347. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's as of Monday. So like
Yep.
we said, these numbers of course fluctuate every single day.
Sure. Thank you.
If I could, for clarification, the 347 number was based on last year, or is that this year?
That was last year's report, Matt.
That was
Yeah.
That's last year's report.
And the 327 is enrollment this year so far.
so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And with the downturn in the economy, the enrollment should go up, right? So that's what you expect.
Well, we're hoping, and like Diane said, we're hoping that students, if they decide they're going to take a gap year, that they'll take the gap year at Columbia Green. I know that there are many parents who are very concerned about sending their sons or daughters away to a four-year campus where there's residence halls. So I'm hoping that we've got a big push right now in advertising about stay near, go far, and we're hoping that we can grab some of those students who are undecided about whether they want to return to their four-year institution.
Just a side note, you may want to reach out to some of the kids that have been accepted to Harvard, because now they just found out that they're going to be doing online learning only for $50,000. And if they want to live on campus, it's another $63,000 for the year.
That's right.
The market there.
Hey, I saw that this morning. I said, yes, we can tap into that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. So this is just our tuition and fee schedule. Again, the 2484 is per semester, 207 per credit hour. That represents the 2.98% increase over last year. The only other change on this from the previous year is that our transcript fee, we've instituted a no charge up to a 15 maximum, and then a $5 per transcript fee for anything above that. We've absorbed the cost of those first 15 transcripts into the increase of our technology fee. It's really for administrative purposes. We don't currently have a good way, particularly during the pandemic, of getting students their transcripts and getting them to pay for their transcript online. That actually will require another third-party software that can be relatively expensive, but is definitely something we want to look into as we move forward, particularly with our new enterprise software. So that's that, and the technology fee are the only changes on this tuition and fee schedule for the current year. There aren't any questions there. We can move on to page 5. This is just a high-level summary of our expenditures. So the top section will show salaries, employee benefits, equipment, and then contractual expenses, which is basically everything else, which runs the gamut from office supplies to our maintenance contracts to our HVAC repair, and everything else that the college pays for that's not salaries, benefits, or equipment. And then the bottom section just breaks out those 4 categories by functional expense. instruction, public service, academic support, student services, maintenance, security, administration, and institutional services. I have details in the next pages that back up these numbers, so I think I'll move forward to those. And if you want to circle back with any other questions, I'm happy to go back to the summary pages. So this is page 6. This is just a breakdown of our benefits in more detail. You'll see we have a fairly significant decrease in our hospital, medical, and dental insurance. So in the current year that we're sitting in, we were able to get a 14% decline in our health insurance premiums. And from this year to next year, we were able to hold those premiums flat. So we'll recognize a nice savings from that in the current year, and we'll carry that forward, or I have carried that forward here in the budget. Not much else has fluctuated. The retirement systems are a direct reflection of the payroll. Those percentage retirement contributions used to cause us some headaches, but they've leveled off some over the years, so not so much anymore. Workers' compensation I left flat, but I do think that we'll see a decline in our workers' compensation premium. We've had a pretty good experience rating, so I'm hopeful that we'll see some savings there as we move forward. And then unemployment insurance, we are on a reimbursement basis for unemployment insurance. We don't pay monthly or quarterly for unemployment insurance. So I tried to make a good estimate here. Well, this is a number that could fluctuate depending on what happens with this pandemic moving forward and how long this goes on. So
Could we get them half of that unemployment insurance, Matt? I mean, like the county's been doing, could they get reimbursement for some of that?
yeah, so we can. I have read that we can get 25% through the federal. I don't know if it's through the federal stimulus funding.
Okay.
Okay, I'm in a meeting, so I can't talk long, but
The answer to that is yes, I believe.
Okay.
okay, all right, I'll let him know.
Thank you.
Any specific questions there? If not, we'll move on to page 7.
I have one question.
Yep.
So the numbers on pages 5 and 6 for 2019, 2020 are budgeted. They're not actual, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you have actual numbers that we could take a look at?
I
Doesn't have to
do.
be today.
I would want to scrub them a little bit just because we've converted to our new system. So yeah, but absolutely, I could consolidate them and make them look like this and do a. Are you looking for what they look like now, or are you looking for like a projection into the end of the fiscal year?
The way that I'm reading it, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but I'm comparing what is proposed for 2020, 2021 against what you budgeted for 2019, 2020, but actually didn't spend.
Yeah.
So that it looks like the budget for 2019, 2020 is $200,000 higher, and it appears here that you cut $200,000 going into this next school year.
Yep.
You know, and if that's reflected in the actual numbers, then I think, you know, maybe we could take a look at that.
Yep. Understood. That is correct. That is what you're looking at. So if you were to look at a comparison of the hospital medical, for example, of the actual to this 2021 budget, there would be more in line.
Did you actually spend the 3.1 million?
No, I'm saying the actual would be less than what's there.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. And then page 7. Page 7 is just tries to consolidate. There's a lot that goes into the contractual. Try to put together a high-level consolidation of the different categories. I'm going to highlight a few lines for you that would stand out to me. That's the service and maintenance contracts, about halfway down the page, 1.203732. The big disparity there year over year is that we're currently, I think I mentioned before, we're currently converting to a new software system. We've been working on this for quite a while now. This is the year where we're going to be paying, the conversion year where we'll be paying for 2 systems at the same time. And we're not sure how long that's going to last. I'm hoping it's 6 months or less, but we do have provision in there for both systems. So that's why that number is so much higher. We also have a couple of new ancillary products that support the new software that are in this number as well. And then we've upgraded some of our services. It's a company called Nelnet, so that our students will now be able to make payments online. Hopefully in the very near future, they'll be able to see their bills online. So we won't have to mail bills anymore. They'll receive an email that says your bill has been updated. Go out to your student account and check your balance due. Go online, pay their bill. Done. We don't currently, or we do have some of that now with the new system, but previous to that, we did not have any of that capability. So it was really a snail mail format. So we're excited about that. But this year is the year where we have both systems in the budget. In addition to that, the educational supplies, couple lines down, that increase really is to support the new construction technology program that was new last year. And all the startup costs for that really went through the capital project that was part of the capital project. So those educational supplies and the things needed to run that program are now in the operating budget. So that's why that number looks so much different. Other than that, I'll open it up to questions. I have some accounts where we've sort of moved things around. If you look at public information and promotional costs, printing and professional expenses together, I've done some reclassing of where people put things. We do department-based budgeting, so every year I try to make this a little more accurate. Not everybody puts everything in the same place. Each year we tweak it just a little bit.
The scholarships, I see that up also.
Yeah, so that, I should have highlighted that, I'm sorry. That scholarship is for our college and high school students. So students that take courses that are still in high school, new last year, if they were eligible for the free and reduced price lunch program, they do not pay the tuition for the credit. SUNY has asked that we capture that on our financials as a scholarship expense. So there's an expense and an opposing revenue in our tuition revenue account. That is, last year was the first year we really had no idea what to expect in terms of numbers. We've increased our college and the high school program quite a bit. Carly probably knows much more about that than I do, but this number is based on what we actually saw this year in terms of scholarship expenses.
That number, so the tuition for early college and the high school, if I recall, was something like $150 for the class.
Yeah, it's
so that's how you're booking that at that level, not at the full price?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What about athletic programs that we're not having or potentially not going to have? Are they reflected in here anywhere?
They're not. So the only expenses associated with the athletic programs that are on the operating budget would be the coaching stipends. The rest of the fees are in the association and are paid through the student activity fee. So equipment, payment for referees and umpires, none of that comes out of our college operating budget. That all comes out of the student activity fee, which is a completely separate set of books through our student senate and our student activities office. And we do still have our coaching stipends in this budget. The thought is that they're going to have some of these sports in the spring semester. We also still want people to be recruiting students for the future. So those stipends are still reflected in this budget.
Okay. Do we have any other questions on this? Because I would like to ask to go into executive session to discuss some personal related issues. But before we do that, is there any other questions as far as the budget goes right up front? No? Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion, Jim.
Okay.
Question, is this related to the college or?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll make a second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay, Jim, just hold on.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose that we not vote to move this forward tonight, that we give ourselves a week or two to digest the budget since we received it on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. We haven't really had a lot of chance to go through it. And I mean, I'll make sure that we schedule a meeting in advance of the board meeting so that we can address this prior to our full board meeting in August.
Yes, that sounds great. And thank you very much. You guys did a great job. We appreciate. I know we kind of drilled you a little bit, but we're trying to figure this out. And I think there was a couple of things that we needed to get also that Rob wanted. If you can maybe get that to us, that would be great.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we're working on it. I believe that Ron got part of the information. The other part is coming from SUNY, and it's a little bit difficult, with the remote working and people scheduling and whatnot. But we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Thank you
very much. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we're going to, as soon as Kelly gets set up, we'll get going on some of these resolutions we have.
Do you want us to stick around? We're good, right?
Yeah, you're good. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll be right with you. Just bear with me.
Okay. Okay, we're going to get started with Health and Human Services. Resolution number 1, the Office for the Aging requests permission to hire a seasonal part-time temporary bookkeeper to perform HEAP processing for a 3-month period commencing on August 2020, with the option to request that the Civil Service Commission extend the temporary appointment for an additional 2 months, if needed, through December 31st, 2020.
The only reason it starts August 1st is that there's a training day for the bookkeeper which is in August, so they have to start them in August, but the work is in September, October.
Right.
I'll move it. Yuri will move it.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution number 2. Request to fill 1 vacated position, budgeted senior account clerk position, grade 11A, base salary $34,942.
Move it.
Have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Authorization for Department of Human Services to fill vacant 1.0 FTE intake clerk grade 11 position.
Again, 2 of our intake workers from mental health both left within a week of each other, approximately. So they had nobody on the front end of doing intake. So there's another resolution right after this one to replace the other position as well. But they need somebody at the front end as people come in the doors. So.
Yuri will move it.
We have a motion. Second.
Sterling. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution number 4, authorization for the Department of Human Services to fill the vacant 1.0 FTE clerk typist, grade 10 position.
I'll move it.
The same thing. All right, second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 5, authorization to contact with the Mental Health Association of Columbia Green Counties for a grant funded position.
I'll move it. This is related to the opioid grant from Columbia University, and it's 100% funded.
Right.
Okay, I'll second it.
First and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 6 on public safety. Due to pending retirement of Assistant Public Defender Mary Ellen Minor, there will be a vacant part-time Assistant Public Defender position open. There is currently a U.S. grant that was modified to create and fill a full-time family court attorney. The annual salary under this grant would be $70,000 plus fringe, and said salary and fringe would be paid 100% by the grant for 3 years. The current part-time Assistant Public Defender position with an annual salary of $75,000, and the breakdown is 55, 19, from Second Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant, plus fringe would be abolished. We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 7, to accept the grant award distribution number 10 for the annual amount of $50,581 over a 3-year period from the New York State of Indigent Legal Services to Columbia County Public Defender's Office, and authorize the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to sign contract. This award is. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Sterling.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion moves. Number 8, public safety. Authorize the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to consent to a 1-year extension of the Second Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant that was due to end June 30, 2020, and needs to be extended for 1 year due to funds still available.
Move it.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Authorization for the Columbia County Sheriff's Office to enter into amendment to the Master Service Agreement with Global Tel Link Corporation.
I'll move it.
We have a motion from Kippy.
All right, we have a motion. Rob, second.
Second it.
Motion
I
and
have
a second.
I have a question about this resolution.
Sure.
I don't know if it really impacts the vote, but how is this impacted on our budget? Do we have like a budget line that's revenue from phone service at the jail?
Yes.
Did you hear that? Ron Caponera said yes.
Okay, so then the idea is that we would now be over, we would actually have more revenue than expected with this resolution? Or maybe it'll balance out because we have less inmates?
He's thinking.
I think it's the cheapest.
Balance out.
You need to speak up so they can hear you.
It should balance out, Mike.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Is there any other questions on this?
Nope.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Authorization for a sheriff's vehicle to be declared surplus property, and sent to county auction.
Kippy moved it.
Second.
Winnebago again. Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I hear Hudson wants it.
Maybe.
I could use it.
Okay. Sheriff's and
Okay, I have
public safety. Authorization for the sheriff's office to enter into a renewal agreement with an emergency management consultant.
I'll move that.
The motion, we have a second?
Second, Ray Stantz.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 12, authorization for the sheriff's office to accept the police traffic service grant.
Move it, Ray Stantz.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second, Matt Morrell.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 13. Authorization for the sheriff's office to fill a vacant budgeted position of corporal correction officer.
I'll move that.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it. And it should be noted that they're not going to backfill the corrections officer's position. So there's a net savings of 36,000. Actually, it's going to be a net savings of $43,000 in total. So.
All right,
And this is part of the reduction in staffing moving forward.
Right. I'll just add too, also with this particular position, they are required by contract and by DCJS to have a supervisor on site each shift, and a corporal fills in. This way you don't have to pay overtime for a sergeant.
Okay, we have a motion. Did we get a motion on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Have a motion and a second. Yep.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Number 14, authorization for the sheriff's office to accept the child passenger safety grant. I think that's for $2,500.
Move it, Ray Stats.
Second,
Motion in the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 15, authorization for the human resources to establish standard work days for certain elected and appointed officials.
I'll move that.
We have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 16, authorization for the Managed Information System Department to renew a 3-year subscription for Cisco Firepower with AnyConnect Plus and Defense Orchestrator. This sounds like it's it's all software, I guess, though.
Yeah.
I'll move it.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 17, approval to accept New York State Havoc Cares grant in the amount of $90,123.55.
Hippie moved it.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Ray Stats.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 18, approval to accept AID to localities grant in the amount of $68.
I'll move that.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 19, authorization for the Columbia County Board of Supervisors to maintain the increased rate of taxes on sales and use of tangible personal property and on certain services, as well as occupancy of hotel rooms and amusement charges pursuant to Article 29 of the tax law of the state of New York. There's no changes in this, right? This is just
No, this is just renewing.
renewing it. Okay.
I'll move it.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 20, imposing an additional mortgage tax in Columbia County.
Move it. Chippy.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Imposing an additional transfer tax on the conveyance of real property within the County of Columbia.
I'll move it.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Kelly, there'll be a public hearing on these resolutions at the next
Correct.
meeting.
Yeah.
The local laws. There are 2 local laws.
I think there's some seeker review stuff in it, too, wasn't there?
Rob Fitzsimmons is on, I believe, Rob.
Yeah, no seeker review on these. These are just our tax extenders, 2 by local law, 1 by resolution.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Number 21, authorization to fill 1 part-time, we're in Public Works, by the way. Authorization to fill 1 part-time labor position in the solid waste department, grade 11, step 1 hourly rate of $16.95 an hour, which is 115% less the base salary.
It's supposed to be 15% less.
That's quite a cut.
Yeah, I see.
It's the 15, 10, and 5, so.
Yeah.
DJ, what are you doing?
That was a typo, I think, on Jolene's part.
All right.
After I said it, I was like, whoa, what is that?
I'll move it.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second, Ray Stats.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ron, this will prevent overtime?
Yes. Basically, if you remember the discussion, we've got a lot of part-timers and they've used up their time because they've already worked more than their allotted hours for the year. So we need full-time coverage. I mean, we need part-time coverage, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This will save us overtime. Yes.
for the watchman.
Less benefits.
Okay. For still Public Works, number 22, a resolution is requested in the matter of County of Columbia qualifying for exemptions from eminent domain procedure, law Article 2 hearing requirement for rehabilitation of 1.9 miles of Columbia County Route 18.
I'll move that.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second, Ray Stats.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 23, authorization to declare the following surplus equipment and to sell it in our inline auction highway, number 49, 2000 Ford F-550 dump truck.
Hippie moved it.
Okay, motion, do I have a second?
Ray
Second.
Stats.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 24, authorization for the Board of Supervisors to appoint Tim Nixon to the Columbia County Traffic Safety Advisory Board.
I'll move it.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 25 and 26, authorization renewal of the excess workman's compensation policy with Safety National Casualty Corporation in the amount of $174,328 for the period of August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021.
Yeah, I'll just make a comment on that. Again, these come up every year. We have to go up and take a look every year at these insurance carriers. We engaged Marshall and Sterling as a broker this year to help us out. The excess workers' compensation, they reached out to several different companies and incumbents, Safety National and Capital Indemnity came back with the best prices. Safety National, historically, and some of the other quotes they've given to some other municipalities, their rates have gone up double digit. Marshall and Sterling was able to keep them down to 3.7% increase. And the Capital Indemnity was flat, no increase at all.
Okay. So there's two in this one resolution. Is there any other discussion? We have a motion. Have a motion. Have a second.
Stats.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 27. Enter a 3-year contract between Columbia County and Omni Underwriting Managers Future Corp in the amount of $77,400 per year for the period August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2023 for the third party.
Hippie moved it.
Okay. Motion, do I have a second?
Second, Sterling.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion moved. Oh, this one I like. Authorization to award the bid for the meat products to Ginsberg Foods, Cisco Albany LLC, and Worley's Foods for the period September 1st, 2020 through October 31st.
Move it, Stats.
Second, Sterling.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I just ask, that's just for 2 months?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
We always do this.
Because it fluctuates, so, yeah.
It's not the same without Rick Keaveney making the
Yeah.
motion.
Rick just does it better. Well, is there any other Any discussion on anything else while we're here? If not, motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Yes,
I'd like to try to maybe schedule a finance committee meeting regarding the college again on August 6th, which is the Thursday prior to our board meeting.
yes, that would be great.
That gives us
Time
2
you want-
weeks to review the budget, and if we have any questions, we can.
Right.
Same time?
What time,
Same time is fine, if it's okay with everyone.
Yep. 3:30, August 6th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Thursday. And then they're supposed to get some of that information to us anyway. Maybe you can send that out. That'd be great.
Yep.
I think the actual stuff that Rob was talking about is definitely helpful, you know.
Yep.
So we get an idea of where the numbers are this time.
Mr. Chairman, if I might ask a question, like Art Basson.
Yes.
PJ, this new third-party administrator for workers' comp starting on August 1st of this year, are we going to be notified of who the new contact people are going to be?
Art, it's not going to be a new one. It's going to be the same carrier. They came in the best value. So it's going to be the same carriers we've been dealing with.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. That makes it easy.
It
Thank
sure
you.
does. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other discussion on anything?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. First and second, all in favor?
All right.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye now.